Hello everyone, Mr. Hine. All right, in this activity 112 of planning a picture, so we just learned, it feels like we just learned Python and we're already moving fast with understanding how modules work, methods, objects, and how we can tell an object that we create to do something according to a method from that module. Now in this lesson, we're going to keep going with this, but we're going to talk about inputs, outputs, and data types, the different types of data a computer understands, and there's only a few, right? So let's go through this, and I'm going to highlight some of the main points that hopefully will help you understand more than what the curriculum's saying. So the first one is, notice that if you want the computer to print something, we use the print function. And remember, for anyone who's done coding before in Python, if I make a comment, recall that we use Python 3.7.4. So because it's version 3, and I don't know if you saw what happened. So if I try typing right here, hashtag is only a single line comment out. So this only comments out line 3. It does not comment out line 4. So I'd have to do a new hashtag symbol. Really, it's the pound symbol, but that's how you know it now, is the hashtag symbol, the starting line. So we use Python 3.74, and to use the print feature, we have to use parentheses. All right. If you've used the Python version earlier before 3.7, you didn't have to use parentheses, but now you do. Right? Because notice when I say print hello there, well, look, hello there, it tells it for us there. But if I tried getting rid of parentheses, in old versions of Python, it would work, but now it's a syntax error. It doesn't work. It doesn't recognize that. Okay. Now, a few things you can do is, they define username here, they print hello, comma, username, welcome to my program. And if they run that, that works just fine. Other ways you can do this is you could print, and for anyone who's done this before, and notice if you want to write what's called a string, if you just want to be able to type something that shows up as is, you use quotations. But you don't have to use double quotations. You can actually use single as well. So I could have done hello, comma, close it, oops, hello, and then do username, and then welcome to my program. And that will also work. Notice if I run it there, it should say it twice. Prints that first, prints the second one. And then the commas work, and there's another way you could do this, is hello, and then we can actually use the plus symbol to add on like objects, because that is what we call a string. That's a string. String is, something that has a value at each part. I mean, that doesn't make sense to you yet, but I want to make sure you understand it as we get into it later this year. One of the data types is a string, which is what we see. It's what we want to type through. We just want to type as is. But each of these has a certain placeholder as it is. All right. But anyway, if these are all strings, which it is, we could use the plus sign, and that will work the same way. But notice if I do this, watch what happens. The first two look good, but the last one, it's hello student welcome with no spaces in between. Why is that? It's because the string, it goes hello, and then it stops at the O, and then it goes straight to my username, which is student, and then it goes straight to my welcome to my program. There's no spaces, so with the plus sign, you have to maybe throw in a space after the O and before you start welcome. That way, when it works, there's a little space there that works. So that's something else. Furthermore, now if you want to ask for a user's information, we can just use the input. And in Python 3.7, input covers all of it. You don't need to have raw input necessarily. Well, that's something for another day. But notice if we run this, input what is my name, it'll actually ask me as the user, what is my name? And I'll say, okay, my name is Hein. And it says, well, print, hello, Hein, welcome to my program. Now, I wanted to show you what data type this is. So if you ever want to know what type it is, you can do type. That's a method. The type of user, what type is username? If I do this, it worked, but it's not going to show anything, right? It just stopped. So if I want to show, just add that word print, make sure you put parentheses around all of that. And notice when I do that, it says, my name, Hein, it is a string. Its data type is str, which stands for string. right? And that's what allows us to add these three together. Going a little bit farther, now if you look at this code here, now it's using a different module. So we use the TRTL, the turtle module. In the last lesson, you'll be using that a lot this curriculum. But this one says, let's import datetime as DT. So there's a module called datetime, and you could look that up. You could do datetime Python module. And there's documentation on it on their official website. It goes through everything that this file, this module already has. And notice it's going to say username, input, it's going to ask for my name. It's going to print my name, just like we did previously. And then it's going to ask the user for their age. So age is going to be a new variable that's going to take on the value of whatever I tell them how old I am, right? And what's nice about this code, and something you want to take notice of, it's very subtle, but it's important, is notice how they put a comment before each block. That's great because it tells us, the user, it tells the user when we create something, what code is doing. Because when you get into the field and you start writing codes, people are going to be looking at code and they're going to be using your code. You want to make it readable for other people to make use of it. Without these comments in green, it's not that we can't understand, it would just take us more time to understand it. And we want to make life easy for other people, right? We're actually a very friendly community in the coding world. I hope you continue to contribute to that. So anyway, it's going to ask for our age, and then it says current year is going to be a new variable, and they're going to define that as DT, which is what we're calling our module. So they're going to call this module DT, and they're going to look for in this module datetime comma now. So what's that do? Let's look. So if we looked in here, just to show you, and this is not necessary, but what's the dot now do is it returns the current local date and time. So it's already programmed for us. We don't have to do it that. We can just use that. So it's going to return, and then it's going to return the year. And then it's going to calculate your birth year by doing your current year, which is what they're calling the year that it is right now, which is 2020, minus your age, and determine what year you were born. So say, for example, I run this. Let's see what happens. My name, I'll say is Hein. You're not letting me type Hein. How old are you? So say I put in a arbitrary age. It didn't work, and why not? And the error says integer and string, meaning they don't work together. Because remember what I did up here, remember that your username, or when we do an input, the input is a string. But when it asked for, when we define current year, this is a integer. You can even see that here. So say before it prints, what if we said print the type of current year? And furthermore, to show you this, print the type of, what type is username? And you'll see that these are not the same thing. So let's see, let's go through this. Time 30. It actually breaks down right here. So let's comment out this so it doesn't break down the code, so we can actually get to line 16 and 17. Birth year minus current. Oh, it's not breaking at line 18. It's breaking at line 15. So comment that out, because it said birth year minus current year, line 15. So you don't want to stop at 15 because it does go in order here. So it's not even getting to where I want it to get to, which is line 16 and 17. And look at that. The type of current year, that's an integer and that's string. That's why we can't combine these two. So what you can do, a clever technique you can do is if I get rid of these two, and I'll add 15 back in, and 18, 17 back in, is our age, we don't want this to be a string, so we can make this an integer, and you just put int all around it. And now this will take on an integer. And that will allow these two to work. There you go. And it tells us the year they think we were born in. So a little bit about data types. So data types are, the data types are their strings called str, and there are integers, which are numbers called int, and then there's actually what's called floating numbers, which are like decimals, and that's FLT. I think. I haven't seen that in a while. Let's see this really quick on here. So at the very end here, let's do, let's define float as 1.1. And let's see what type this is. Print the type of float. Oh, darn it. 190. Oh, so the class is just float. That's what I thought it was. So if you ever want to do float, it is float. That's how you abbreviate it, just like int for integer and str for string. So that's a little bit more about this. And then the rest of this program is going through this, read the steps and make sense of it. When you get down to this code where you actually have to do 3 things here under 9, 12, and 15, don't worry about using the help button where it tells you the methods to use. Just make sure you attach it to that object painter and it tells you the inputs it takes. Right? And I think the actual word is not input, but actually parameter. These are the parameters of the method. But it's okay if you don't necessarily use the right word in this class yet. We'll get more familiar with that vocab later. And that'll help you with all of this, and you can mess around and learn. And I hope that clears it up. If you have any questions, know you can reach out to me, work through this, read the steps, and look at you learning some coding. That's awesome. You're doing great. All right, bye-bye.